Hey everybody, welcome to this lovely Thursday evening at Centralwäscherei. Um, as you know, we have a Detroit Techno VXP Stream Bar special. We're still selling comics of the Book of Drexia Volume 2. If you don't have a copy, get one. They're limited. It's also the Swiss premiere. Um, and yeah, I'm joined by none other than Abu Qadim Haqq. Welcome. Give a
Thanks
round
for
of
that.
applause for Abu.
Hey, thank you.
Um, VXP was a format we did for Megahex 1.5 years ago during the pandemic. It was kind of a streaming radio show where we talked about the history of niche genres and electronic music genres. We tackled acid house, wave, and bleep techno. And now it's time for Detroit techno. And Abu, do you want to introduce yourself?
Greetings. My name's Abu Qadim Haqq. I've been an artist in Detroit for over 32 years and mostly in the techno community.
Thank you. Um, Maybe I will do a short introduction of myself. I'm Nicola Kazimir, still part of the Centralwäscherei and part of the Micro team and part of Lepo, which are three labels. So let's start. Um, I start with this map, which is found on a release of Drexia, which describes basically the southern migration to the inner cities, which became a haven point for music. Uh, One would be, where is it? One would be Chicago. Here is it. One would be Chicago. The other would be Detroit. Uh,
Hmm.
One question: during the 80s, did you visit Chicago or not?
No, actually, I didn't travel too much when I was younger. I didn't get to Chicago until the 90s.
And as I find it very interesting during research that even if the cities were so near by each other, the music was totally different, and even the instruments that were used were totally different. So Chicago was the home of house music, acid house, um, people, queer black people like Frankie Knuckles originated that music, and Detroit techno, on the other hand, um, was an Afrofuturist genre, uh, a genre by black originated from black males like Quan Atkins, who was
Hmm.
part of Cybertron. Um, we will show a cover later you did for Model 500, which is another alias of Cybertron. How
Hmm.
did you meet Juan?
Well, I met Juan. It was over 32 years ago when I was introduced to Derek May. I was also introduced to Juan Atkins around that same time, within about a day or two after meeting Derek May. I met Juan Atkins, and I saw his studio at Metroplex and all that sort of stuff. And we got to talk, and I did a few jobs for Metroplex at the time, and yeah, that's how I was introduced to Juan.
So Juan as Cybertron is seen as the originator of techno music, basically. Oh,
Yes,
the,
yes, that's true.
there was this track Charivari, but there was a high school band. I don't count it as the first techno track. I
Right,
see techno as a movement, not as a singular composition. Um,
right.
Maybe we listen to the first track of Cybertron, and it and then progress to Model 500 as it's a different type of composition. Nowadays, you would say Cybertron would sound like electro, and electro has this thing that it always comes in waves. No, every 10 years we have a new electro wave. It's always
Right.
nice to see. Let's start with the first one, the Kraftwerk-inspired Cybertron cosmic cars.
Cool.
Bella?
Sitting in my car, driving very far, traveling all alone, far away from home. The music's playing loud, 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 120 miles, stepping on the gas, accelerating fast. My cosmic car, cosmic car, my cosmic car, my cosmic car, cosmic car. I wish I could escape from this crazy place. Fantasy or dream, I'll take anything. Suddenly surprise, right before my eyes. All I see is stars and other cosmic cars. Cosmic cars. My cosmic car. 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 It's going. It's going. My cosmic car. Cosmic car.
So that was Cosmic Cars by Cybertron. Um, Also, during research, I always wondered. Um, so here in this Drexia map, you have 1988, and Techno leaves Detroit to spread and spreads worldwide. Um, During this time, I know it's electronic music, but everything is pre-internet. So movements movements would spread differently, and same sounds or similar sounds would be generated in different cities without people knowing of each other. So basically, when Juan Atkins did this sound, he didn't know that in New York City, at the same time, Afrika Bambaataa did a more sample-based electro sound. And when he traveled to New York, basically, he got a bit disillusioned, and he was like, okay, I now have to go back to Detroit and create something really new. And there's where we have the shift of this proto-techno electro sound to the more techno-y sound that we know it, basically, which is, I would say, also a Model 500, aka trademark sound. Do you have any Model 500 favorite songs, actually?
Oh, shoot. I sure do. I like my favorites.
So, for the, I mean, we're still in the early 80s, mid 80s. There was a radio and a DJ that was a big influence on the first wave of Detroit techno. The first wave of Detroit techno, people like
Yes.
Derek May, Juan Atkins, Kevin Saunderson, Blake Baxter, and Eddie Folkers are considered to be the first wave. I think the
Right.
Belleville Three, as they went to the same high school, got the most spotlight. I sometimes feel sorry for Eddie because he made some great productions as well.
Yeah, it's true.
Did did you listen to Electrifying Mojo as well, and how big of an influence was he?
Oh yeah, for sure. I got my first radio when I was about 13, and Mojo was on at the time, and we would listen to him every night, and he would play some of the most unique music. He would play the techno, he played B-52s, he played Prince, Michael Jackson, he played hip hop. I mean, he played everything pretty much, and really opened the ears and the consciousness of many Detroit kids at that time to appreciate this music.
And maybe people don't know, radio was really segregated back in the time. So mainstream radio would play white music, and Mojo was one of the first to mix it, basically.
Yes, yes. The station he was on was a urban, urban R&B station, pretty much. But at night when he came on, he would just change the whole programming and play his own style, and it was wonderful.
I'm searching through my crate for a Model 500 song. I have so many. I don't know which one I should play.
Yeah, so many good.
Maybe during that time you could tell us how you came into illustrating and starting to illustrate all, basically the most famous and every Detroit techno label.
Yes, well, I started October 1989. I was still in art school at the time, and I heard that a guy named Derek May at this label called Transmit wanted some art, so me and my friends went down there and showed him our stuff, and he liked it, and so he hired us. Man, we was hired as permanent artists at that time, and Transmat, Metroplex, and KMS Records was all in the same block, in the same vicinity. And so I got to meet all those guys and was doing art for them for a few years, from 1989 and going on into the 90s.
And there was one other person that was also very influential on illustrating Detroit techno. It was Alan Oldham, which he was also super DJ and still is. I think also known for the Jacks Up, the Dutch label illustrations. How was your relationship? And you're still working on things today. How did you meet? And were you in a competition or were you like friends?
Oh, no kind of competition. He had came before me by a few years with the first artwork for Transmat. And so I was familiar with him through that. And then eventually I met him on his radio program, Fast Forward, which was on the public radio at the time, one of the first techno shows. And so that's when I met him. And over the years, we did a few collaborations and some different exhibitions together and things like that.
Okay, we listened to a Model 500 song. It's The Chase on Metroplex. Enjoy.
Nice choice.
That was the Chase by Model 500, aka Juan Atkins. As you see in the screen, here is a Model 500 artwork by Abu Qadim Haqq. I think it is on Arendas Records, the compilation, no?
Yes, that's right.
I also have a very nice compilation here with, let's still stay in the first wave, I guess. Maybe you see it also on my stream.
I just see the Model 500 cover so far.
Or the one that I'm holding, the Transmat with the planet. Oh my, I'm so overexposed here.
Oh, relics. Oh, yeah.
The
okay.
relics one. Yeah. Hey, let's play one other song, and then let's talk about techno spreading to Europe and why it didn't spread in the USA, and how it came back decades later as EDM. Oh my God.
Crazy.
Yeah, crazy. So, this is I will play The Art of Stalking by Suburban Night.
Oh, good choice.
It was my first techno track, actually. When
nice.
I was 15, 16, there was this guide, this like Flash Java guide. It was called Ishkur's Electronic Guide to Music, and you could just click on genres and listen to samples, and that's how I found out about Detroit techno.
Oh, that's wonderful.
such a lovely tune, no?
Oh man, that's one of the all-time classics, man.
So, I mean, we're around 1988, 89. Um, Techno has spread to Japan, to Europe. Um, New genre appropriations have been made. A guy called Gerald did Voodoo Ray and British Acid House, then Bleep Techno, UK Hardcore. Funny thing is, UK Hardcore sampled Derek May's bass line so many times, even in Jungle Track.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's around so many times in different variations. And yeah, the second wave of the Detroit techno is approaching, which we have some stellar names on it, like Mike Banks, Jeff Mills, Robert Hood. I don't know if I should count the whole Plus 8 label into it as well, because technically they're from Windsor. They're,
Yeah,
they're, from,
you know.
they're from the other side of the lake.
They're from the other side.
And I always call Richie Hotwin the Eminem of techno in a way.
Oh man. Right.
I read. I mean, Kenny Larkin was also on the Plus 8 roster.
Yes. Yeah.
But they weren't so welcome in Detroit. I read an interview with James Stinson that went to a Plus 8 party, and he didn't. He thought that they're coming to our town and they don't even play our music, which was kind of odd. And Richie Hotwin, I mean, technically very skilled, became a synonym for the techno capitalist machine that rolled on in Europe in the 90s and evolving into minimal techno and so on.
Yes.
But nevertheless, there were also really nice labels and transatlantic collaborations, like Mrs. Jax did Jax Up, which always had the eye on America and Detroit and Chicago. I think the Dutch scene was very keen. In a way, the Dutch scene is very weird because it will in later years it will spawn trance, which is the predecessor of EDM, but it also had a very niche scene that was very keen into Detroit techno, like Orlando, Van Worn, Baruka, Fix, POD, that you also did a very nice cover for it. I have to show that one.
Thank you. Yeah.
I have the repress, so mine doesn't have the Vanguard EP.
Yeah, that's an old one. Wow.
How did you meet with Orlando, and how were the first experience when techno hit Europe? I know Kevin Saunderson's Big Fun track was a big hit to get the sound overseas as well, to make it popular. How was it when you, from Detroit, started to travel, basically?
Well, it was amazing. I wasn't even aware of how the world was and, you know, all the different things that the music had influenced. So, you know, it took me, I didn't travel outside the country until 1998. And I went to a festival called the Tribal Gathering. So that was a pretty big festival and it was pretty nice. And, you know, I got to see for the first time how the music was accepted in Europe and how much everybody liked it and appreciated it.
How was it in Japan? I I always thought they were so crazy about Detroit techno.
Oh yeah.
They still have like Detroit techno bars and coffees,
Oh
which
yeah. Japan's been one of the most successful countries that I've had the most success in, and they really love techno and they love the art, and they really respect you. And I've had some wonderful times in Japan. And the first few times was really crazy. Like when we was, I went with DJ Rolando, and the first time he went over there and played the Liquid Room, and that was just awesome. So I do have really good memories of, you know, how nice it was in Japan back in the day.
yeah, so basically we're still in the 90s, early 90s. Second wave is approaching. The most known militant group, Underground Resistance, is forming. The sound gets harder. We play a track later. Let's play a Kenny Larkin POD song first. And then let's jump into Underground Resistance, where you did a lot of covers as well.
Yes.
Techno's high. Techno's high. Techno's high.
10 Miles Plaza.
So there was POD, aka Kenny Larkin, the
Nice.
Vanguard EP.
Yeah, I haven't heard that in a long time. That was nice.
So let's jump to Underground Resistance.
Right.
Well, at the beginning, I think it was formed by Mike Banks, Jeff Mills, and Robert Hood. The later being the originator of minimal techno as well. Later on in his, in the last decades, he went to do something called gospel techno, I would say.
Yes.
So basically, the they were they wouldn't show their faces. They were a super militant group dressed in military outfits, and they would always propagate to do everything yourself, not to trust mainstream media. Like,
Yeah.
do the distribution yourself, do the releases yourself, do the artworks yourself, and themed. It was very politically themed. Should it be in Afro, futurist roots, references, attacks against the programmers? They would call the mainstream media the programmers.
Yes.
In some EPs, Underground Resistance would team up with Drexia, and they would do an Aqua invasion against mainstream media. I think what we see now is one of the most famous covers. I saw this one in so many record stores all over the world,
Wow.
and in so many homes. Do you want to tell me about the concept of this artwork? How Mike Banks approached you to this Interstellar Fugitives compilation and cover, which also features Drexia?
Yes, yes, for sure. Yeah, well, Mike Banks was working on a really big story that goes along with this album project, and so we had to come up with these different characters, and all these characters are the interstellar fugitives. So I did like a comic style I did about half of these drawings on the cover, including the Drexia virus one up at the top. So yeah, he wanted, this is the look he wanted, and so that's what I hooked up, and yeah, it turned out pretty good.
Maybe Underground Resistance went through some roster changes as well. I think about in 1992, Jeff Mills and Robert Hood abandoned Underground Resistance to pursue their stellar careers, and
Yes.
they basically put their mask off. I think Mike Banks still stayed true to the concept all over the years till now. How is your relationship to Mike Banks, and how did you meet Mike Banks?
Oh, well, I first met Mike Banks when we were down at the Transmat Metroplex KMS. I think he was visiting Metroplex at the time. Was the first time I met him. And then later on, I would go on to do art at Submerge headquarters, which was at 2030 Grand River. A whole bunch of different Detroit techno artists were there at the time, and over the years, like dozens of Detroit techno people stayed there. So it was quite a few, quite a lot of creative energy going on at that time. And then in the late 90s, I became a full-time artist for UR, and that's when I started doing the bulk of the work for UR that you see.
Maybe let's jump to one of the most well-known UR tracks that people maybe don't even know that it is a UR track. I'm talking about DJ Rolando, the Knights of the Jaguar. I hope I find it. Which you also did the cover for.
Yes.
When was it? It's 9. It's on the first page. Let me search it. Well, there is a weird story about it with Sony Entertainment, with a legal dispute. Here it is, Knights of the Jaguar. Let's look at the cover. And this, and I think Galaxy to Galaxy became the biggest hits on Underground Resistance.
Yes.
This one became so big that Sony wanted to sign it and release it, but Underground Resistance was like, hell no. So what Sony did, they made a cover version of it, and they basically pirated the whole track. It was a 1-to-1, and released it on the worldwide markets. And I mean, it's, we didn't have we didn't have social media, but it was Web 1.0, and email was the thing. So Underground Resistance fans spammed the email box of Sony Entertainment so much that it went down. Basically, it was a shitstorm, and Sony had to take back the cover version of the European markets. I think it stayed in the African market, although. So I don't have this actually as a record. I will play it. Don't judge me for it. I will play it off YouTube because I think people should at least heard it, because I think everyone knows that track.
Yeah, for sure.
That was DJ Rolando, Knights of the Jaguar. Um, let's stay within the realms of underground resistance. I would like to showcase more ravey track from the early days of underground resistance. Maybe for people that don't know, Submerge was the meeting hub as well, but it was also the name of the distribution that distributed records worldwide. And what I found interesting comparing to label antics nowadays, that different Detroit techno labels would release the same tracks. So people know each other and support each other through re-releasing tracks. So you would see a Transmat record could be out on Octave One's 430 West record as well. It's a practice that you never don't see in today's label policies. It's something that died actually. Everything, I mean, what you do now, if you support another label, basically you do a repost on Instagram and that's it. And yeah, back in the days, also I think remixing culture was totally different. You would have people remixing each other, cross over all the labels,
Yes.
which is something we could bring back, no?
I'm sure
Just
it
when I
could.
was researching today, I was like, hey, why nobody re-releases track from France on the same label? It's like once it's out, we never want to touch it and re-release it again. It's
Yeah, need to
something
do-
that
bring that back.
got burned into our minds. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. Need to bring that practice back.
So let's listen to one Ravey Underground Resistance track. And yes, I think we're mid-90s, and what I told earlier is that every 10 years, electro comes back in a different form, and let's look at that and do the bridge from underground resistance to, I think, two electro forms that spawned out of Detroit, which is like, I would call it the Drexian electro, and then the sub-label of 430 West, which is direct beat electro, which is fast-paced electro. Yeah, then let's look at that history. But
All
first,
right.
let's do the Underground Resistance Ravey track. I think it's the first EP, but I'm not sure because I have a white label. So, um, maybe you can answer the question. I didn't find the answer by myself. Um, how did it come along that 430 West did a fast-paced sub-bass electro sub-label, as they were doing like melodic 4/4 techno on their main label? I just didn't find any sources what the origin of direct beat was.
Well, I think it had something to do with maybe Keith Tucker at the time. I believe he had a lot to do with that and that particular sound.
Okay, I mean, it just showcases that Detroit techno isn't like one genre you can pinpoint to. Hopefully, this selection showed it that it spans a wide range. And hey, let's play a AUX 88 record.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, and then let's venture into Drexia, I guess.
All right.
So that was AUX 88 with technology, techno bass remix. Um, that
Nice.
also reminds me a little of the Miami bass movement, which also started
Yes.
in the early 90s, but was a CD movement. So lots of songs there were pressed on CD and had the stereo bass. Oh my God, bass in stereo. How could they? And yeah, let's move to Drexia.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a topic that I think takes a lot of your time nowadays. Um,
Yeah.
may,
Very true.
maybe you want to talk about how you met up with James Stinson, how it was basically then to draw this the Neptune's Lair, which was the first LP of Drexia, and then maybe talk about your own novel and why it happened 2 years ago and why people weren't interested, I think 5 or 4 years ago. Yeah, just talk through the process.
Right, right. I first met James Stinson. It was shoot, probably about 30 years ago now at Submerge, the same place I was telling you about earlier, 2030 Grand River, which were like quite a few of the Detroit techno artists lived there, had studios there, and James Stinson would visit there quite often. And he had business with Submerge and Mike, and so that's where I first met him. Years later, I was assigned to do the Neptune's Lair artwork, so I got a chance to meet with him personally and discuss the concepts of Drexia. And so we met a few times about that, and that's why the artwork turned out exactly how it did, that album, with the Warriors and the things like the Drexian Cruiser and the Bubble Metropolis and those things like that. So it was a very wonderful honor to be able to do that album artwork. And eventually, those characters and concepts would lead to a story. And that story became a graphic novel that I eventually would come out with. The Book of Drexia, Volume 1, came out with that, it's almost 3 years ago now. And so wanted to continue telling the story of Drexia based on the background story and, continue to expand it and tell the amazing story.
Do you want to tell the lore of Drexia?
Well, yeah, the lore is that pregnant women during the slave trade, pregnant African women were thrown overboard and they gave birth right at the, right when they were dying, they gave birth to these children that would adapt to the underwater world and establish their own civilization with an emphasis on warriors and scientists. And, those stories in my 2 volumes now reflect those meetings that I had with James Stinson and the concepts we had discussed.
And there was something special about the form of storytelling within all releases. So Drexia was very consequent in a non-linear, fragmented, sonical storytelling. So each and every
Yes.
release would have bits of fragmented storytelling. It could be the track title, it could be imagery, it could be a credit line super small somewhere, it could be a sample, or it could be the melodies that tell the lore of Drexia. And what astounds me, it's clear you have curatorial freedom within your home base, within underground resistance, but Trezor is a big label. Reflex was Afex Twins label back in the day, and just to be like, hey, even if I release on your label, I just want to be consequent. We want to be consequent with the artwork and with the fragmented storytelling. So even with Warp Records, which is pretty astounding.
Right.
And maybe you want to tell what kickstarted the comic books, basically. Was there a particular event, or did you
Yes.
did you had some tryouts before?
Yes. Well, I originally came up with the idea to do an aquatic character. I had a comic company a few years ago, and wanted to establish an aquatic character. So I just did a few pinup ideas at that time, and wanted it to be based on the character that I did for Drexia. So I put him in the same armor, and wanted to develop that character. Unfortunately, the comic company didn't survive. It didn't last, so I sort of had to put it on the back burner. But after attending an Afrofuturism conference in Greece in 2017, and then with the release of the Black Panther a few months later after that, February 2018, I became inspired to do the story, create a whole story about how they were, born underwater and survived and became the civilization. So that's what I got permission from Gerald Donald to pursue it. And that's when we came up with the Book of Drexia Volume 1.
Wirklich? Immer noch. Do you have a favorite track of the Neptune's Lair?
Oh yeah, favorite track off the
Which I should play now?
Yeah, let's see. You can play C to the power of the X to the power of the unknown and all that.
Yes. Which was referenced in Volume 1 as well.
Yes.
Ja, warte, ich mache das Lied und dann können wir es anschauen. A beautiful track.
Oh man, amazing, wonderful. I love that song.
Sorry, we had some audio problems. Um, I think we can talk about Grava 4, which is I think the last Drexia album, which
Yes.
I think Drexia back then, it's James Stinson passed away in 2002,
Yes.
and Grava 4 is the star where the Drexians are from, if I'm correct. It's
Correct.
the return home, and what they did to break the fourth wall, they bought the star and named it Grava 4, and they bought it in Switzerland actually.
Yes.
It's on the cover. It's I think in the back credits of the cover you see that which star coordinates, and that it was bought in Switzerland.
Pretty amazing.
How was the process working on the comic? Who did help you? What are the future plans as well with the franchise? We still have Volume 2 books here, so get them. Vital would be pleased to sell you more Volume 2s.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, shoot, I really gave it a lot of thought and really did a lot of research and really wanted to connect a lot of the songs and a lot of the ideas me and James had talked about during the Neptune's Lair meeting. So I came up with some basic ideas and unfortunately was able to have a sponsor in Trezor who also liked the idea and helped me with the production by hiring an excellent writer, Dai Sato, from Cowboy Bebop fame. So really had some wonderful help with Volume 1.
How did that come about? That you, I think it's a long friendship, and yeah, I mean it's Dai Sato of Cowboy Bebop helping you on Volume 1, which is quite astonishing.
Yes,
who doesn't love Cowboy Bebop? I don't know about the Netflix remake though.
Oh no! What a tragedy! Don't mention it. But yeah, it was certainly one of the best things that could have happened, and was really grateful that Dai Sato was able to help me with the stories in Volume 1. And, I think it turned out pretty good. We was able to tell the basic story of what happened and, and also going on into the future, some of the things that happened based on the music and the songs. And I think it turned out pretty good how we represented the whole concept.
Before we do Drexia, aka, because I talked about Consequent, but even their AKAs were interlinked with the lore, which is pretty astonishing as well. How was your relationship to Gerald Donald?
Oh, yeah, me and Gerald talk quite often, and we message each other quite often, and I go over ideas, and we discuss concepts and things like that sort of often. I think, maybe once a week I hit him up and see what's happening, and we go over different things, and yeah, we're pretty cool.
Yeah, I think we didn't mention it. Drexia was consisting of James Stinson and Gerald Donald.
Right.
Stinson passed away tragically in 2002. Gerald Donald is still alive.
Yes.
He visited us in Zurich 2 years ago for the Bubble Chamber exhibition in Megahex, formerly known as Upstate, and Micro, which was a great event.
That was a nice show. Nice show.
And um, he did. I think the most well-known AKAs nowadays from Gerald Donald are Doppler Effect and ARPANET. And he performed as ARPANET 2 years ago. But we're gonna showcase the other people's place, which is a AKA of James Stinson and Gerald Donald, and the song is Let Me Be. That was the Others People place with Let Me Be. I think it was on Warp Records. They're repressing it quite often if you want to get it. I think we're heading towards the end of this Detroit Techno special. Maybe what I want to know from you, what does the new generation of Detroit Techno producers bring, and how is it at the moment in Detroit? Is there like a revival, a buzz? Are there some new people holding up the flag high?
Yeah, I think there's quite a few young people coming up. I'm always hearing about a lot of clubs going on the weekends and different events happening every week and whatnot. I pretty much stay in these days because of, the pandemic and all. But, I hear a lot of people still going out and having a good time. And there's a lot of young DJs and young producers still making a lot of good stuff here in Detroit.
What I saw, I don't know, on my social media, jit dancing. It's pretty popular, no?
Oh yeah.
I see everyone jitting. Jit.
Yeah, that's our dance, and it's still pretty popular. And we got different jit groups and dance crews and all that sort of thing, and it's pretty cool.
I mean, we totally forgot a lot of. This topic is so many people worth mentioning that we forgot. I think Carl Craig, then the only woman coming out of this movement, Kay Hand.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace. Which we could have shown tracks. Yeah. I mean, maybe someone here has a question. If not, I think this is it. I will showcase maybe 2-3 rare Detroit games that aren't so obvious, but you can leave, Abu. Thank you for keeping me company and for this talk.
My pleasure.
Was nice to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you, Nicola. Thanks for having me on. It was a pleasure answering your questions, and I'm at your service anytime.
Same, and hopefully till soon, and hopefully in Zurich for the volume 3 maybe.
Right, I hope so. Yeah, gonna start working on that next year for sure.
Okay, Abu. So take care. A round of applause for Abu, please.
All right, thanks a lot, y'all. Have a good evening, everybody.
Hey, so the program is at 12. I start a Detroit-inspired set, but let's continue with this radio format and show some more unknown AKAs out of the Detroit era. One is a Keynote. The Keynote's AKA, I think, is a hard-to-find AKA of Juan Atkins. This if you want to buy it now, let's see what the price is. I think it's super expensive at the moment. So yeah, it's a Kevin Sanderson, and I think Juan Atkins is also featured on this. It's one of my favorite tracks. Yeah, I mean 20 francs. 17 available. I don't know. There's the Rush Hour mix, which is more main time peaky, and then there is the Drive On mix and the Marrying Techno mix. Let's play the Drive On mix, because people weren't sure how to name this genre. Basically, there were opinions for high tech jazz or techno. And this track showcases why it's so near, why it's a different form of jazz music. Okay, that was Keynotes, Interstate Drive-On Mix. We were talking about the JIT dance, and let's play a JIT track. Soul Tech, Back to the Future, the album. It's pretty expensive, but you download it on SoulSeek. Yeah, let's play the JIT original. Back to the future. Back to the future. Okay. Last track before I take a little break for the DJ set. About this one at Submerge in Detroit. It's a perfect closer track. I think it's a newer Detroit techno track around 2007, 2008. It's by Basic Bastard, Shortcut 2. And yeah, if you want to close the dance floor, I think this is a good ending track to give a sort of melancholia and good feel to the crowd. Yeah, hey, I hope you enjoyed. Maybe we will do some other live streams in future. Let's see if we have time. Thanks Zentralwäscherei for having the various Xenopunks format. Thanks to Vital for helping me, the micro team as well. And yeah, thank you for listening. You can rewatch the stream on our Zentralwäscherei archive and have a great night. Thank you.